walking on the street and I want to see if she has a microchip that is attached to an owner. So I came to the local animal shelter, grabbed the scanner, check for a chip that is typically along the back, but this chip can also migrate to the shoulders and the chest. We found a chip.
Well, our animal shelter is always trying to innovate and better serve our community. This scanning station is just another tool that's going to allow our residents 24-hour access to help us reunite pets with their family members.
We can find what company is attached to that chip and get the owner information, such as the name and phone number, and try to reunite them with their owners before coming into the animal shelter. The other thing is sometimes people have a privacy alert on their information on their microchip. When this happens, this process looks a little bit different. The microchip company will tell the owner the pet is found, and they will provide the information of the finder to the owner so they can get in contact with each other to reunite that pet.
Our hope is that our residents use this tool behind me 24/7 to help us reunite pets with their families.
And just remember, if you found a pet, just hold on to that pet until you can properly check the pet into the animal shelter during business hours. It is a citable offense to leave a pet unattended at an animal shelter.
Council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance from Pastor Chris Housewright with Grace Point Church in Destrehan.
Let's pray. Father, we are thankful that we could gather here tonight, and I pray right now for, as we open up this meeting, I pray that you would just have your hand on it. I pray for all those that serve our great parish, that you would guide and direct them. And I pray for just the things that are done and said in this space tonight, God, that would honor and glorify you. We ask these things now in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Housewright. Approval of the minutes. A motion and a second are needed to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of July 7th, 2025. We have a motion by Councilman Cummerdale, second by Councilwoman DeBrouillet. Please cast your votes. That passes unanimously. Special business, proclamations, canvass returns, etc. File number 2025-0194, proclamation, National Heat Stroke Awareness Month. Councilwoman DeBrouillet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Proclamation. Whereas National Heat Stroke Awareness Month serves as a critical reminder to educate ourselves about the dangers of extreme heat exposure. This condition can escalate quickly, leading to severe health complications. And whereas recognizing the signs of heat stroke, implementing preventive strict measures in vehicles, and staying safe during extreme heat events are essential steps in creating a safer environment for everyone. And whereas heat stroke awareness becomes crucial, particularly regarding the safety of children and pets in vehicles. Vehicles can heat up very quickly, with temperatures rising 20 degrees in as little as 10 minutes, creating a deadly situation for anyone locked inside. And whereas by locking the vehicle door when it is not in use can prevent children from gaining access to the vehicle and minimize the risk of them getting trapped. Never leaving a child alone in a vehicle, even rolling down a window, does little to keep a vehicle cool. Some newer vehicles come with a back seat reminder that will allow parents to check their vehicle before they leave. And if you see a child in distress in a vehicle, call 911 immediately and get help. And whereas St. Charles Parish encourages all parents, family members, and caregivers to implement strategies and stay informed during the hot summer months. And whereas National Heat Stroke Awareness Month reinforces the importance of good safety practices, ensuring public safety during Heat Awareness Month. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim August 25th, 2025 as National Heat Stroke Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish and urge all citizens to help prevent the tragic loss of life by taking precautions by minimizing the risk associated with extreme heat. And Miss Tyrell Cornwell and Miss Keisha Legault are present to accept this.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank you once again for acknowledging us with this. The St. Charles Women's Club take pride in doing this because we do also reach out when we say children and animals. We also look at the elderly. Please remember the elderly and the disabled should also be considered when you saying, "I'll be right back." That's not a good thing, okay? I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Reports, Finance and Administrative Activities. File number 2025-0195, Department of Community Services. And we have Ms. Joan Diaz here to report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And tonight, I'd like to provide you all with an overview of who we are and what we do, highlight service data. Now, remember, that'll be from last year because we have a full year of service data, and then just talk a little bit about some of the issues that we're facing with the Department of Community Services. And let's see if I can operate this first. Is it the middle? There we go. Okay. Our department is designed as the safety net services for struggling families throughout St. Charles Parish. And a family is everything from elderly individuals, single individuals, disabled individuals, and young mothers, single mothers with young children, and what I would call working and struggling families that come to us throughout the year. And they come to us for a variety of services and support. We work in an effort to support these families. We work in collaboration with all of the community agencies throughout St. Charles Parish to coordinate care. We provide an array of services, but we can't always respond to everything that comes in the door. And so we work and rely on working together with Catholic Charities and other agencies that are within our community. We also provide programs for youth at risk in targeted communities. This year, we've been able to provide 3 of those types of programs. We have one in St. Rose at the community center, one in Kelowna at our community center, and what we call our Bootsy Outreach in partnership with Mount Zion Church. We also provide assistance with homeowner-occupied housing needs, mostly minor home repairs, but we do have some resources available to do some more substantial home repairs. Our main program areas, emergency assistance. People come to us for utility assistance. That could be water bill that's in arrears, electric bill, gas bill, Also for rent, that's been a big issue this year with so many people coming to us with the fact that rents in St. Charles Parish have increased significantly over the last couple of years. We have an on-site food bank, so we started out as the crisis food bank, but we do serve people on a regular basis that are unable to go and sit in line at other food banks, and we provide basic shelter in that we work with in partnership with the domestic violence program in St. Charles, and we can help with a fire victim, for example, and put them up in a hotel and work in partnership with United Way with that as well. We don't have a shelter in terms of brick and mortar in St. Charles Parish, but we work it out that way. We provide those year-round community-based services for youth at risk. And so that includes, I'll go over a variety of programs that we offer and the homeowner repairs. Our LEHEAP is one of our major federally funded programs that provides utility assistance. They can come to us seasonally, so they can come in cooling and heating. It's basically categorized like that nationally, where we can provide a credit on their electric bill. And then in heating, during the heating, if their house is heated through gas, it also includes putting a credit on their gas bill to help cover them through that particular high energy use season. And then we have a pot of money for crisis. And with a crisis, you have to have a documented crisis and a disconnect notice. And so we prevent any kind of a disconnect notice. And with the total seasonally, and then remember, it's federal fiscal year, so that number shows the overlap. We do a significant dollar amount of services and support each season, $350,000 in direct assistance processed through Louisiana Housing Corporation. Other pots of money, as I like to refer to them, Community Service Block Grant, CSBG, we use that for utilities and rent. That's a little bit of extra for individuals who might not qualify for LEHEAP. So we have a little bit more leeway with that pot of money, and we can provide assistance to them directly using the same guidelines that we use for local assistance. We have the money that you all generously allocate to me through the general fund, and we classify that under local assistance. And with that, we use it for rent, medical, if they need medical equipment or a prescription that they can't afford. We do utilities when we run out of LEHEAP money, low-income home energy money. We can help them under that pot of money. And if we have the fire victims, we help serve them with that as well. This year, is a great resource that I brought through a partnership with Jefferson Parish is the HUD tenant-based rental assistance. And it has been a lifeline for a lot of people, because with that program, we've been able to do up to $1,000 of rental assistance. And with the higher rents, we've drawn down $91,000 just last year. That was a partial year that we allocated, we had those funds allocated to us. And then we also have a partnership with Atmos where we can go directly into their system and provide support, not only with paying a gas bill, but if they have a substandard gas appliance that would be dangerous and a risk to them, we can use some of those funds to help replace that appliance, like a gas stove or a gas heater, on those funds. So it's been a great resource for us as well. Our emergency food assistance, again, what started out is a very small crisis food bank, and I just had the idea, hey, all these folks are coming in here, let's do a basic partnership with Second Harvest, have emergency food for individuals. Well, if you look at our numbers, what started out as a very small crisis, we have now done, last year we did 735 bags of food of people coming to us under that umbrella. And a lot of and people will say, well, they're giving out a lot of food in St. Charles Parish, but if you remember, you have to get in line in your car. It's a great resource, and they're serving, the other food banks are serving several hundred people every month in that resource. But a lot of people, if you're elderly and you don't have a ride, you can't go sit in the line and get your bag of food there. So they've been coming to us on a regular basis as opposed to just a crisis basis. So we don't technically do a distribution. You know, we have a small food bank on site, small staff, but we do serve the people who come to us, and we supplement that with donations, money that comes in through corporate partnerships or private individuals. We purchase additional food from Second Harvest, in addition to the Second Harvest food. Last year, through donations, Thanksgiving baskets is primarily donations that come in that we solicit. We do have a core funding to do our initial order. We broke our own record every year. I don't know if we're going to do any more, but we do. 399 baskets went out last year just with Thanksgiving. And we coordinate with the other sites to make sure we're not duplicating effort. These are new individuals, primarily from our client base, that come to us. In the centers, we were able to access snacks from Second Harvest. And in addition, we budget and get resources from some of our corporate partners to purchase food. And snack is not a bag of chips after school anymore. Snacks after school could be red beans and rice, or nachos, or hot dogs, or something a little more than that, to make sure that kids, they get off that bus, they're hungry. And I know at school they eat lunch very early, and so we make sure that they have healthy snacks. We have some chips and stuff too, believe me. Summer food, last year we did about 4,000 meals. I just got the data in we just closed out our program this year. And to let you know, we were over 5,000. That's 2 sites. It's a hot meal. We've seen more parents showing up. We do the bus service throughout the parish, so we've done well with that. But for the first time, I'm seeing more parents coming in with their kids. And the parents have the option to buy a meal as well, and they can do it for $4. And so we've seen more of that this year. Thank God we hired good cooks, old-time cooks who could stretch a pot. And we did a quick extra food order when we realized our numbers were way up there. And I will say that home-cooked meal, we had very little waste because people would eat. It's good food, it's very little packaged stuff, and a nutritious meal, and it has to be balanced in accordance with USDA guidelines as well. So I'm very happy with where that's going. Home repairs is another area that people call us for a variety of things. It could be everything as simple as handicap grab bars. It could be someone needing a handicap shower, which is a little more substantial that we're able to do with certain funding resources that we have. It could be a roof, which we used to be able to do with some of our funding. Lately, we've been having to combine funds depending on the size of the house because the price of a roof and materials has gone up tremendously. And so we have different pots of money. HUD Home, which is for more substantial projects. That's people that need a significant amount of work done on their house. And it's an extensive qualification process, but it's a great resource, and we use it and go through that process. Health and safety, that's the funds that you all provide for us directly through the general fund, and we supplement that heavily with those St. Charles Borromeo saintly volunteers who are working in this heat, doing all kinds of repairs, repairing floors or repairing ramps. Now they're picking up on some of that, and porches, those types of health and safety things, replacing a toilet, minor things that they can do. But those guys work 3 days a week, steady. They come early now because it's hot, and it's amazing the projects that they've done for us. USDA, it's over a federal fiscal year, so at that window we did 6 projects. We're able to do some roofs with that, depending on the size, and we're able to do a lot of handicap bathrooms with that primarily. United Way ramps have been a challenge because the funding went down from $100,000 in the 30s because of their funding priorities and cuts. And so last year we've continued our partnership with Volunteers of America, and they were able to build 7 ramps with the resources that we had. This year we've negotiated bringing it in to this year, our budget, so we can do. Some of the volunteers have picked up the smaller ramps, and they've been able to do that for us. And so if you look at the funding, the dollars spent, we've drawn down 144 in that window that we've looked at. Health and safety, we've spent 62,000. USDA rural, we drew down during that grant year. That part of the grant year, 54,000. And as I said, United Way, the ramps went down from 100,000 to 36,000, but we still managed to do some ramps. How's my timing here? Community center programs, we do the 3 sites. Summer enrichment is key to keeping kids not just having fun activities. We do field trips. We get them on the bus. They go eat a summer hot meal. But we also do an educational component. Now, when I say that, they're not going to school. It's informal educational activities to maintain their basic core skills through fun educational games. And so we have on staff some teachers, and we do a little bit of tutoring for kids who might need a boost over the summer. We started last year, that morning drop-in, St. Rose. We were shocked how many people are coming. We give them a hot breakfast at 6:30 in the morning, get them on the bus in a safe haven. And it might be 30 kids one day and 20 kids the next day, but we had 60 kids who participated at some level in that program. And it gives parents who have to get to work a resource that they don't have to pay for. The after-school drop-in, again, they get off the bus, hot snack. We help them with tutoring and homework help. Those who need tutoring, we have a teacher on each site to help with that. And we do some fun activities, because when they get off the bus, to be honest with you, they're not always ready to do tutoring. So we try to make it fun and then homework help and do it as best we can. And then we've really expanded our specialty programs for adults. We have done, the Lunch and Learn has picked up, where we sometimes give out almost 200 meals, hot meal, but with meal with a purpose, an info piece that we give out to them. We bring in a community resource to give them information on Medicaid or something like that. And we also have done a lot of enrichment with adults. And we do tot time with young parents and try to offer a resource center where people can come and get help with whatever issues, and also to help build their skill and their capability to manage better with the life skills. I've already spoke about summer food. Like I said, this year we did over 5,000 meals with it. So when you look at our collaboration, we work with Catholic Charities, Social Concerns, Department of Children and Family Services. We're a partner site with that. Food stamps, safe space. When we have domestic, we pick up on someone who might need domestic referral. Second Harvest, the resources they have kind of gone down a little bit. We're hoping they're going to kick back up. And we have a lot of corporate partnerships. And if I start listing, I'd be here all day. So we have very generous corporate groups in St. Charles Parish. And when we ask, they respond in many different ways, working with us. We do, as part of everybody comes through our door, I try to do an ongoing needs assessment. What are you here for? How did we help you? How was that? Did that help to stabilize you during that time period? And if not, what else do you need to help you to stabilize or get to the next level? And so I just kind of pulled out of our whole year batch of data, which our summer worker inputs for us. These are the key areas that were identified pretty consistently. 94% of the people who came in our door at some level were below the poverty level. CSBG, Community Service Block Grant poverty level is a little higher than some of the national ones listed, but it's what we would call working families. They might have so many in the household, and so their income is not adequate to meet their needs, and so they've come to us. Home repairs, we've had a lot of requests for that. I guess because of the storms that we've had in the area. We have been very fortunate to link them with the state resource, and some people have gotten new trailers through those state resources as well. But job search strategies are something that people are asking for. So we try to do that as part of our life skills program, resume writing, or they can come to the center and use the computer, and we help them to go through that process. That can be challenging for some people, just to find openings and go through it. So that's pretty much a summary of who we are, what we do, how we try to be that safety net to the families in St. Charles. I'm very blessed to have a very dedicated staff who are accomplished in their areas, and we do respond effectively in many ways. You know, I'm with other parishes. I see what they're able to do. I see what we do by working together with our partnerships in St. Charles Parish, and we're very blessed to have these resources and people working together to solve problems. And it includes you guys up there too. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Joan, I want to thank you for your office for everything that they do. I do have a question in reference to the AM drop-ins. Are you thinking about expanding it to the 2 other centers?
Well, we actually are planning to pilot an early drop-in in Kelowna this year. We have staffing lined up, try to see who's going to respond to it. And then in Boutique, we're offering it, but they're going to charge a nominal fee in Boutique.
Okay.
To do that. And so we're going to offer it and see what happens.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And my other thing on a job search, did you think about partnering with Tommy Scott as well?
We partner with Tommy and
Okay.
we do referrals back and forth, and they come in and maybe do special presentations, and we try to get corporate groups. It's a tough thing for some people because some of it has to do with skill building, so then we would refer them to Tommy, and he's also got CSBG funding like us, and some of that has been redirected this past year in the way that they utilize it and the way they do training. So we do work together. We try to solve it that way. Yes.
Okay, Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Joan, you guys do a great job. Thank Ms. Courtney, too. She had actually helped. You remember the lady we got?
Yeah,
some
Miss
work
Courtney's
done.
retiring, guys.
Oh, come on.
End of the month. But
Shucks.
we have a good team.
Good for her.
Well trained. Yeah, she's going to live the good life. So,
Good.
yes.
I wanted to ask you, though, is the organization a 501c3 IRS qualified?
No, we are under the government entity. We're,
Okay. The reason I ask that is because if you're going to have a qualified plan, retirement plan, your required minimum distribution kicks in about 73. So if people are fortunate enough to have some funds they want to donate,
well,
would that,
we partner with, like, for example, Social Concerns. I'm on that board.
Okay.
And we work closely. People can, and they have a 501c3, and we've partnered with Catholic Charities. But I think we have gotten personal donations to our department as well, and I do give them documentation of their donation. And I think by virtue of our partnership with, say, we are a Second Harvest Food site, if they donate to the food bank, I'm no tax attorney or whatever. We'll let the experts, but my understanding is they can deduct that donation to the food bank because it's going to the Second Harvest site.
it'd be good to identify how we might do that. Some people, I know I do because I'm old. But,
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm open to any way we can draw more resources.
Right.
But we are under the government umbrella, and that's by charter, that the community service departments in all parishes of Louisiana, well, there are some that are nonprofits, I'll take it back, but they're still accountable to the local government.
We'll check into that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I can't thank you enough, so I'm not going to go on and on about how welcoming your staff is in St. Rose, but I ask you this every year. What is your biggest challenge that, as you look forward to this year? What is your biggest surprise and your biggest challenge?
Well, I think the demand for rental assistance this year was number one challenge, and I think it was Michelle. Michelle put extra money in our.
Michelle's,
But
yeah.
I guess we have run through everything. We're working on that extra allocation that Michelle put in, and it's been a lifesaver for people, because what used to come in the door as a $700 rental assistance, was needed, now is over $1,000. People are paying $1,200 or more in rent for the same apartment they may have paid, $900. And so it's a struggle. And their income's about flatlined, and their expenses are going way up. So that's why we're getting more people coming to the food bank and rental assistance.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
We're getting together with you.
It's a big one.
All right, Joan, thank you so much as always.
Thank you all.
Okay, file number 2025-0196, Parish President's Remarks Report. Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We'll just go just quick relook back at Invest 93L and the preparations we took. So when we got word that Invest 93L was entering the Northwestern Gulf, our teams prepared for the tropical weather. Our EOC worked closely with all of our departments. Obviously, we didn't declare an emergency, but we worked with getting our sandbag stations set up. We did some preparations at the boat launch just in case that we were going to see any type of storm surge, which we didn't, but it was a good practice run for our folks. And then you can see on the right there's some major drainage under the railroad tracks that needed to be cleared. So crews jumped into action. We went to all those hot spots that we know are always issued just to make sure that we had clear drainage through those areas. And then on, I think it was Thursday evening, we got a little bit of an inundation from a cell that popped up over us and just sat on us for about 2 hours. The official reading throughout the entire event was about 7.5 inches in Destrehan and Luling. Again, that's the entire event. That includes the rain we got before the inundation and whatever we got afterwards. But the majority of that fell during that Thursday inundation, which dumped a lot of water. There was a significant amount of street flooding throughout Ormond and Destrehan and Luling and Old Luling as well. We did unfortunately have a couple of houses that took on water in a couple of areas that got that inundation. Looking back at our previous events, like 50 years ago, 20 years ago and 10 years ago, we would have seen 50 to 100 homes flood in that scenario. Thankfully, we were under 10, but we know that in those areas, we still have some more work to do to make sure that that we can take that rain and keep it in the street and out of people's homes. Really heartbreaking. We've seen this. We saw this with Francine when we got 9 inches of rain dumped on us. One of the residents who flooded, she's actually a former employee of the parish. Her house is set to be elevated in about a week or two. So we know we did see that in Norco during Francine when we got that inundation. But good news is that we're going to be able to scratch that one off the list. Some of these houses are just incredibly too low, below that street level. It really becomes hard to prevent flooding in those scenarios. But again, want to assure the public that we remain committed to solving these issues, and I think you're going to see a little bit of that on the agenda tonight. All right, Muntz Pump Station number 1. Obviously, the construction has begun on Muntz Pump Station number 1. That's a 267 CFS pump station on CC Road. They drove the test pile, and we are going to be waiting 14 days, Mike, or we're coming up on our 14th day here pretty soon on Friday, where they will perform the test on that test pile to make sure that we pass the safety factor for the station's pilings. Muntz number 2 is on tonight's agenda. We hope that the council will support it. If they do, we will have a groundbreaking for both of those stations together, and that is going to be a nearly $30 million investment for some permanent capacity in Muntz. And I want to remind the council and the public who are at home watching that the need for this was actually driven by the new levee that is going in on the West Shore levee in St. Charles, St. John, and part of St. James. So this is going to take our drainage out of the hands of other parishes and keep it in our own hands. And we figure that we're better when we can do it ourselves and manage our water. Part of this will be actually separating 600 acres of St. John's water out of our watershed. So a big win in addition to the increased capacity. Sunset Auto Bar Screen. We actually, this is some folks that pictures that Sea Level shared when they put their drone up in the air. Sea Level's been doing a great job moving this project along. So far, crews have completed concrete pile load testing, the installation and removal of 2 40 by 60 temporary retaining structures, the installation of timber and concrete piles, Nearly all the excavation on the canal is complete, minus the portion between where the Wasky deck will be and the pump station. And then there's just, the Wasky deck installation and the installation of the bar screen cleaners themselves that will be left. This is a $12 million improvement into a very critical pump station in a very, very large watershed. So we're excited to see that project moving forward. Again, as always, Sea Level has been doing a terrific job for us, and we are also excited to see them doing the work on pumps 1 and 2. Okay. Part of our routine maintenance, we had marsh buggies in several canals within St. Charles Parish. This one is actually a canal right off of 3160 in Hawnville that helps drain wagon train and Pioneer and all the folks back there, and even helps at a certain point with folks behind Courthouse Lane. So making sure that this canal is clear. This canal intersects 3160, perpendicular to 3160, and makes a southerly turn and goes out into Lake des Allemands. Okay. This doesn't look like much, but this is when the excavator just started digging to replace a lift station in the back of River Oaks Drive. If you're familiar with River Oaks, it's the street directly behind our public works office. So all the way in the back near the railroad tracks, we have an old dry pit station. And as the council knows, we've been taking the time to invest in our lift stations and converting those older dry pit stations, which tend to start leaking over time. Those dry pits tend to start leaking, which creates a little bit of an issue for us, keeping those pumps dry. And then we're converting those to submersible stations. The submersible stations are more efficient. They don't back up as easily. We have the variable drive motors on those pumps, and then they're easier to work on and maintain. So overall, it's a benefit to the parish, gives us more capacity, and they're easier to maintain overall, makes us a little bit more efficient. Okay, we got the full report from our summer enrichment and Jones report there, but our Department of Community Services recently wrapped up our 6-week summer enrichment program at our community centers in Booty, St. Rose, and Kelowna. The theme this year was Louisiana Heritage. They immersed the kids in our culture with weekly themes like Where You At, or Food, Fun, and Festivals, What's Happening on That River, or Look at These Old Houses. The kids learned all about our state and local economy, history, culture, and so much more. We had 87 kids participate in this program. Community Services also did summer feeding. Again, I'll just hit the highlights. The record 5,559 meals served, and we did see a lot more parents participating, coming to eat with their kids, paying $4 to be a part of that. So great program, and it's continuing to grow for the students and kids in St. Charles Parish, making sure that they have a meal throughout the summer when school is out. Okay, Animal Shelter, beginning today, the St. Charles Parish Animal Shelter adjusted its weekday public hours to start opening at 10. The staff will be still arriving at the same time, but this a little bit of time before opening to the public allows our folks to start working on cleaning cages, medical needs of the animals, making sure that the animals are bathed and taken care of. And this follows best practices that we've seen in other parishes like Lafourche, Terrebonne, St. Tammany. Jefferson has some limited times as well. So gives us more time with the animals in the morning to make sure that they're taken care of. And then, of course, we always do work with residents to schedule adoption times and to schedule times that are outside of normal windows. And they are open one Saturday every month for residents to come and check out the animals. Quickly, we have a procurement auction going up right now. It's going to open through August 1st. We have toners, scanners, generators, a shuttle bus, and other trucks up for bid. If you're interested, obviously you can go to www.publicsurplus.com/SMS, St. Charles Gov, LA/browse/home if you need or want to bid on any items. And this helps us clear our yards of equipment that we're no longer using. All right, finance team members attended the GFOA conference. That's the Government Finance Officers Association National Conference in D.C. earlier this month. The team regularly attends the state GFOA meetings, but this was the first time that they've attended the national conference to bring best practices back to St. Charles Parish. They tell us that they've learned a great deal about things that they can implement within our finance department, and they want to thank Grant. We want to thank Grant and Donna for allowing our folks to get some extra training and make the finance office better. Okay, we did some personnel orientation. Our personnel office recently gathered with the newest members of the St. Charles Parish team. They went through an orientation to learn about our office policies, our parish policies, their benefits, and everything that is important to all of our new hires. And it is somewhat dependent on which department they work for. So we appreciate our personnel office for taking time to do that. We also want to welcome some new hires. We have Clayla Day, who is our new Coastal Zone Manager, taking over from Marnie Stein. Brett Vetrano, who will be replacing Ricky Russo as the Grass Superintendent. Michael Perlew, who is going to be our first Fleet Manager. He's going to help us manage our fleet. Right now, our fleet is kind of decentralized. Each department is managing their own vehicles, and we see some room for best practices and improvements by overseeing the entire fleet within the Department of Risk Management. So Michael Perlew is going to be helping us with that. And Patrick Beard is our new Director of Economic Development as an interim until this council hopefully appoints him and approves him. He will be taking over for Corey Fauché, as you know, who is retiring with over 30 years of service to the parish. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Parish President Jewell. Ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing for Monday, August 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the courthouse in Hornville. File number 2025-0197, 2025-0199, 2025-0200, 2025-0201, 2025-0202, 2025-0203, 2025-0204, 2025-0205, 2025-0206. Ordinances scheduled for public hearing that were introduced at the previous meeting. File number 2025-0175, an ordinance to provide for the installation of all-way stop signs at the intersection of Lorraine Street and Amy Street in Gabriel Heights subdivision in Destrehan. Councilwoman Skiba.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this is my district, and I do ask for the council's support on this item. Residents have reached out to me with concerns about vehicles speeding down this street, and the hope is that this will alleviate some of the cars that are speeding down the street with having the additional stop sign.
Thank you, Councilwoman. File number 2025-0175 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Jeff Grayson, 205 Lorraine Street. I hope y'all will support this. I want to thank Ms. Skiba for bringing this up because since the Bungie project was put into play, we said we were told we would get no extra traffic. The traffic is bad. The speeders, it's mostly Bungie employees and parish employees. Sorry. We've tried to get them to slow down. We've tried stopping them, talking to them. These are all no truck routes in the neighborhood. 18-wheelers, dump trucks, machinery. The parish obviously knows there's a problem because they put in an 18-wheeler turn radius on Gordon Street, which is also a no truck route. We tried to get sheriff deputies back there. For whatever reason, deputies will not come back there. I've seen 2 in maybe the last 3 months. It was 7, 8 o'clock at night, which the problem's already gone at that point. I put cameras in front of my house, and I'm steady collecting all the speeders. We tried stopping some of the speeders and talked to them. But Bungie actually closed off all access to the back unless you go through our neighborhood. Bungie employees have to ride their side-by-sides down Lorraine Street because they can't even get in the plant unless they go all the way around because all Jonathan Street is closed, Pelican Street is closed. They gated off everything. Everything is closed, so I hope y'all just find a way to put up 2 stop signs and maybe slow some of this down, because it is totally out of control. And this is, the parish approved this expansion. So I don't think 2 stop signs is too much to ask. And Ms. Skiba, I want to thank you again.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grayson. File number 2025-0175 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Wendy Grayson, 205 Lorraine Street. Again, thank you, Ms. Kiva. And I want to reiterate everything my husband has said. And the 4x4s, the dump trucks, the parish traffic, and the whole 9 years that I've lived there, it was quiet. We had no problems. We had the random residential speeder every now and then, but nothing like this. This is way out of hand. I get up sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it is like a wagon train of speeders going to the new road that was done by Bungie into the back. And it's not only their workers, it's the parish dump trucks. I've stopped them. I've talked to them. It's the big tractors that come down and cut the ditches. There were 3 of them that appeared to be racing down our street one day. I had to physically get in the road and stop them. It was ridiculous. There are kids running around. We're getting more and more kids in the neighborhood. We once were a forgotten neighborhood. Now, we're not forgotten. I will tell you that. We see it every morning, every evening, lunchtime. It's like the floodgates just open. And I hope that we can get something done with this with some stop signs. We're out of resources. We have nothing left to do except stop signs. And if they run those, I don't know what to do, because like my husband said, we can't get cops to come out there. You can call them and they say that they'll put in the request for it, and we see nothing. And I'm home all day, every day. And I see what's going on. And I don't see any support, any help that we can get. So I'm hoping that we can get some stop signs. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Ms. Grayson. File number 2025-0175 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0175. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0176, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances to revise Chapter 15, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Section 15-9, Speed Limits A, to provide an exception to the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit to lower the speed limit on River Place Drive in Hornville to 15 miles per hour. Councilwoman Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I've had several residents to call me in reference to decreasing the miles per hour to 15 because there are many kids that are on the street. So I just asked my colleagues for their support.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wilson. File number 2025-0176 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0176. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0182, an ordinance to amend the St. Charles Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 6, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 2, Building and Related Construction Codes, Section 6-15A, to change the demolition permit fee from $100 to not applicable, meaning no fee. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the last thing anyone facing a demolition on their property wants to do is come in and pay for the privilege of demolishing a building. This permit in particular is one that benefits the parish. We track safety, sewer lines, gas lines, and we want to encourage residents to come in when they're taking a building down to do so with the correct paperwork, with the correct processing, so that everything's done properly and accountable. And we feel that the fee is an impediment to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2025-0182 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just want to say thanks to Michael and his office for working with us to eliminate this fee for this permit. Again, he explained it really well about making sure that if you're demoing your house or doing something that requires demolition, that your gas and your electricity and your water and sewer are not going to be impacted. The other portion of this is that we've passed by too many homes in this parish where they demo the house and they just push it to the street. And what happens when that happens is that every one of you at home and in the audience here helps to subsidize the cost of that removal when that gets picked up. And we already run a small deficit when it comes to trash collection within the parish. So this also ensures that they do have a dumpster and that they are handling the debris in accordance with our ordinances. But again, we want to encourage people to go get a permit, and charging them $100 on something like a demolition where we don't have to go out and inspect or have South Central go out and inspect just isn't necessary. I want to say that this is a good move, and I appreciate the council's support on this.
Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a segue to President Jewell's comment, I just wanted to point out that River Birch does generally refuse to pick up demolished homes. I just dealt with one specifically. So it is important for outreach to let the person know, especially when you're asking them to demolish the home, what is required at the point of, to make sure they have a dumpster, that they're waiving the fee, use that for the dumpster, and remove the debris, because River Birch will not generally accept what looks like a home being demolished, and we'll all get stuck looking at it, and they'll be in our ditches. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman O'Daniels. Any other council discussion? All right, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0182. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0183, an ordinance to approve and authorize the execution of a 3-year cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Department of Energy and Natural Resources, LDENR, for St. Charles Parish Local Coastal Program implementation. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those that don't know, this is a 3-year renewal on the CEA that we have with LDE, with the state, to maintain our coastal program. It sets up the framework by which we review permits, and I guess more importantly for your perspective, it sets up the framework for them to pay us for those activities. So one of my most prominent staff members has their salary partially supported by the fact that we get $65,000 every 3 years for this. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Okay, thank you. File number 2025-0183 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0183. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0184, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with BLD Services, LLC for the Ormond CN Railway Culverts Project, project number P200801, in the amount of $10,542,425. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a culmination of about a 5-year process, and has been a lot of effort on everyone's part to get done with the railroad, meet all their requirements. It is a heavy process to lift. And we're getting about $6.3 million in grant money for this. It is going to help improve drainage in an area that's had flooding for a long period of time. And we would greatly appreciate the Parish Council's support on this project.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2025-0184 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name's Tina Berto, and I live at 124 Duke Hayat Drive in Destrehan. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight on this. Yeah, this has been in the works for a long time, and I know the headache it's been. And we were always told that it couldn't happen, like that. It's the railroad. It's not going to happen. And you guys have worked so hard at this, and I just, I've lived there since February of 1979. I've seen a lot of flooding. I've personally flooded twice. I've had, like in 2020, one of my friends on Ormond Boulevard that lives a few blocks away told me when she came to check on us, she came to my house to check on us, she says, I saw that pass in front of my house, some garbage thing, she said, and the rapids were really, really fast. It stops at the track, and we get it all, and we had a lot of, I guess, silt or whatever, all the dirt, a lot of garbage and everything come to our house, and it just can't get out. So, like I said, we were always told nothing could be done. Well, after the 2020 flood, we started a grassroots movement, the residents, and to your credit, Mr. President, you heard us, you listened, you worked with us, and I know it hasn't been easy. And your whole administration, I know you've been working really, really hard on this, and we appreciate it. I would also like to thank Councilman Pilier, the immeasurable amount of time this man puts into this, into solving this, even before it was his duty to do it. It's just, it's amazing, and I want to thank you. Okay. And your vote to approve the contract for this project is an important step in relieving the flooding in our area. Thank you.
Thank you. File number 2025-0184 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
I live at 213 Beauregard Lane North, and I gave Walter this picture, and I hope he gave you all a copy of it so you can see. It's a picture I took the morning after the first big flood on May 9th, 1995, and Matt was probably 3 years old back then, but that was 30 years ago. What were you doing 30 years ago today? And these kids in this picture, you'll see the guy in the center, Christopher, that's my son, holding a fish. When it started to flood and the water was coming up, I live in a raised house. He got on the porch and said he saw a fish outside. And I said, Christopher, you're crazy. I was worried about saving my car outside in my garage. So I was worried about saving that. He went and got his little Zebco reel out there and swung it out there and caught a river shad right off my front porch. And that's a picture of him holding it. He eventually became a professional fisherman, by the way. So he has his own charter fishing company now, and he can catch fish anywhere. But anyway, the water builds up so fast. If you look at this picture, the water probably got to these guys' heads right here. And this was the first major flood. In the next 30 years, we would flood 2 or 3 more times. I'm fortunate I never did flood because I'm built up pretty high, but my neighbors did, and I'm sorry to say, a lot of them, some of them moved out and some of them passed away since then. But a whole generation has gone by now, and I appreciate the work that Matthew has done and Walter has done and Michael has done to move this forward, and we're coming to fruition now. We're coming to make it happen. And it's important that all these kids in this picture, they've grown up and moved away and have their own careers. Christopher's 38 years old now. So, and we're still facing the threat of flooding around here. So I appreciate if you support this ordinance and get this going and make this happen. And we don't have waterfront property anymore. We're catching fish off our porch unless we're living in Grand Isle or someplace like that. So I appreciate the work everybody's done to make this happen and move this forward. I ride my bicycle through that empty lot many, many times where this is going to be. And even today, when the water we had the other day, about a week ago, you can see where the water is trying to get through that area, that low ground. It's trying to get through there. It's trying to get out of there. We don't flood because the houses are built low. We flood because the water can't get past that railroad track. That's why we flood. So thank you very much for your efforts. And if you need a charter fisherman, call my son.
File number 2025-0184 is open for public hearing. If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, public hearing is closed. Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I can tell you I've never been so excited to attend a council meeting in my entire life, to where we are voting on this historic project in Ormond and in Destrehan. I just want to say that I've heard the stories from our residents. You know, in May of 2020, May 14th, we had a torrential downpour, like 9 to 12 inches over the course of a couple hours. And that was my first real test. I mean, minus COVID, you know, happening during all this, but that was my first real test as parish president. And we were faced with two options at that point. Either we went with the status quo where everybody said it can't be done. And at the same time, politics were playing into it because you had some who were saying it can't be done. And then you had some saying it was a simple fix. But all I know is that for the past 40 years, these residents have continued and continued and continued to face this flooding. I think about the conversation that me and Councilman Mobley had about his slab flooding while his house was under construction. That was in what, 1977? 1977. So this problem has lingered and lingered and lingered. I will tell you that this is probably the most complex project that we have ever dealt with. The Muntz pump station project is probably a close second. But we dealt with the railroad, who are notoriously hard to deal with. We had to deal with our own internal conflicts, water, sewer. We had to deal with conflicts from Atmos, from AT&T, every other conflict that you can ever imagine within this right-of-way, that all had to play a part in this. So I just want to say I'm incredibly proud of our team. I think we've worked on this project every day for the last 5 years. We're not done. We got to see it through to its completion. I'm ready to cut the ribbon on it right now. But I just want to say thank you to the team that we have who kept this ball moving forward, kept us progressing through this, who flexed through the challenges. Our grants team who worked through the issues that we faced over and over again with the LWI grant. Many times we thought we were going to lose the grant because of the challenges that we kept being hurdled, that kept being hurdled towards us by the LWI folks in the federal government. But we flexed and we bobbed and we weaved and we made it through all of that. This will solve the drainage issue in Ormond. I'm quite confident. And with the work that we've already done at the pump station and other places coming back towards this issue, you can already see the improvements even before this project's being made. So I'm extremely excited about this. And for the folks who are at home wondering when theirs is coming, just know that this project took 5 years. If you're in Norco and you're worried about the flooding there, we are worried about it too. We're going to be bringing that project to fix your flooding very soon. If you're in Hawnville on Hawn and King Street, your project is coming very soon. If you're on Paul Frederick or Kindler, your project is coming very soon. They take time, and our team is doing a great job of juggling all these projects and pushing them forward. And I would really appreciate if the council would overwhelmingly support this ordinance tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Parish President Jewell. Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have to echo what President Jewell is saying. I was one of those people in the neighborhood that flooded. Statistically, on May 14th of 2020, we had 92 people in our Ormond Plantation Estate subdivision whose houses went under. Mine was one. I flooded twice, came close 3 times. Finally, my house is elevated. Thank goodness. That won't happen again. But for those who haven't had their houses elevated or who may not be able to, this will solve the problem in Ormond Plantation Estates. It goes across the railroad track. So where did that water go? It goes into a canal system. Where are the pumps? They're on the Dunleith Canal. There's a big one over at Brandon Hall, and there's another one up there by Winn-Dixie. That gives us about, 1,700 cubic feet per second. That is enormous. So we've got pump capacity. problem that has happened over the years is we don't have quite as much conveyance capacity in canals and such. This is a conveyance. These culverts get the water to where you can get them to the canal and then get to the pump station and pump it out. So this is a very, very important project. I passed around today to some of my colleagues on the council some background information, because we're sitting here with 7 people on this council who weren't here when all of this mess started back in 2020. In fact, it started in 2018. That's when I got involved. So I've been dogging this parish now for since January of 2019 to get this fixed. And I heard from a previous administration lots of things, lots of words, lots of excuses. In fact, there were things done that actually didn't help. It hurt. And we're going to solve these problems now. And due to the fortitude of Mr. Jewell, Palamone, Bingham, and others, this is getting done. And this is not going to be easy. I spoke to the guy who was a superintendent, really, he's a president of BLD. Didn't even know that he was involved, at the time. He said it this way. He says, they've been talking in this parish about doing this project since the beginning of the 2000 time frame. Since that time. And everybody was afraid of it because it's hard. He says, and it will be hard. But he says, we're going to get this thing done. So all I can do is thank you guys profusely. And I ask for the support of all my colleagues here on the council. Thank you very much.
Councilman Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to echo what Councilman Pierre and President Jewell said. It was a hard time. But by getting this, the upstream possibilities of Norco, of New Sarpy, of St. Rose being able to get underneath these railroad tracks, the relief for those different watersheds is going to be amazing. Councilman Pierre and I, on the last few floods, we saw the fact that the water from Ormond couldn't get out. It was actually backing up into New Sarpy, backing up into Vans Lane. This is going to help with the conveyance, with getting this through. It's also going to help with the relationship that we built with the railroad, so that when we have these projects to fix Norco, to fix St. Rose under the CN tracks, to get Destrehan, certain parts of it, Murray Hill and all that water going that way, we're going to be successful. Matt said it's a long road. I remember May 14, 2020, when we were all driving down Ormond Boulevard going down the tracks. We saw that. We saw what was going on in Norco. So getting underneath the railroad tracks, which, God, we've been saying that for 40 years, railroad tracks is our problem. So this is a fruition of a great team effort. I'm looking forward to the day that every one of our CN railroad track problems go away. And then our residents don't have to worry about a levee in the middle of their houses. And our drainage, what our master drainage plan works, our pump stations, our cleaning, our bar cleaners, the things we're doing on the West Bank to improve it. So this is momentous. It is. And it's the first of many to come. So thank you.
Councilman Mobley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It wouldn't be right if I don't say something. Like Matt said, since 1977, 47 years I've been waiting for this. And I gotta ask for your support, of course, but I really need to thank Matt and his team, because I know the bid came in over $10 million, and I don't think the money was available. $10 million. I think we're a few million short, but somehow, Matt got his magic wand out that he always does, his magical money wand, and he waved it, and somehow or another we found, or Matt found, and his crew found, an extra $3.5 million to get this project done. I mean, if we'd have shut it down and y'all would have said, oh, we can't afford it, I don't know what would have happened. But thank y'all. Thank Walter. He really ramrodded this deal, and I'm just riding on his coattails. Thank y'all.
Councilwoman O'Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can't begin to even follow up on that, but I do want to thank all the parties that have been involved, because this actually gets us started on the process and the recognition that we need to deal with these culverts underneath the railroad tracks. St. Rose has got a double whammy. So we are looking forward to that momentum moving forward, and having that can-do attitude that we can make a difference in our conveyance, because for St. Rose, that is the key. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Daniels. I'd just also like to thank everyone involved, the administration, last term council, who, during COVID, after the May floods, approved the 2 drainage studies, East Bank and West Bank, of which this was a priority project. And those weren't cheap. The money was set aside, and that was done. Took a little while, but it got done, in consideration of COVID, the May floods, Hurricane Ida, and also the Kelowna tornado. The administration and council were hit with a lot. So I know from my experience with the administration, 10 plus years, that you're right. Railroad projects, they were just, you didn't want to touch them because you knew that you were likely just going to hit a wall. And I feel like this is nothing short of amazing that this project has reached this point. I'm very impressed. Thank you to those with the administration. I know you worked really hard. I really feel like this is the start of all the ones that we need done throughout the parish, East and West Bank. So keep the momentum going. Appreciate it. All right, any other council discussion? Please cast your votes for file number 2025-0184. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0186, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 1 for the Sunset Bar Screen Cleaner project number P080905-11C, CPRA project number BA-0270, Sunset Screen Cleaner, as a part of the West Bank Hurricane Protection Levy project, to increase the contract amount to $168,945 and increase the contract time by 12 calendar days. Mr. Sholey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As this is, this is a change order to add 14 additional piles under the what we call the bridge or the Wasky deck. There were 2 test piles driven at the site. One was 66 foot long, and the other one was 90 foot. The 66-foot one was for the structure, and the 90-foot one was for the bridge. The biggest difference between the two, the tip leaks were different, but the difference was the service load. The service load on the 90-foot pile was 71 tons, and the service load on the 66 for the structure was 35.5 tons. So the 90-foot one did not meet the 2-to-1 safety factor. So in order to make it meet the safety factor, we added 14 additional piles to the structure, which spread the loading out to where it was less than 50 tons per pile on the service loading. And so we appreciate your support in approving this change order to add the 14 piles.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sam. File number 2025-0186 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0186. That passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Sam, for all you did on this project.
Yeah, well, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say quickly that we're seeing the improvements of widening the canal already. We've seen it in these separate rain events, but it's a significant improvement to allow the water to come off number 10 canal into that larger bay. And once we get the screens finished and the engine upgrade, we'll see a major impact in that area, which we're seeing it already. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Sam. File number 2025-0188, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with Sea Level Construction, Inc. for Munns Pump Station number 2 and drainage improvements, project number P210806, as part of the East Bank West Shore Hurricane Protection Levee System in the amount of $18,882,865. Mr. Sam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Miles, you have some comments you want to make?
I just want to make one comment. You know, Mr. Sholey has worked very hard on a lot of these projects, the Munts projects, the Sunset project, and, you know, we appreciate his great effort. But I also want to point out that the backdrop to this is the engineers back on my staff have worked their tails off getting this stuff done. That goes for this project and also that railroad project that we voted on earlier. So I'd like to just give them a call out because they have been tremendous in getting this stuff done. And I want to turn it back to Mr. Sholey, and I hope all of you will support this.
Thank you, Mr. Miles. I was going to say this has been a joint effort by many. I just want to say this. This is a system where we have 2 pump stations, and they're interconnected on a common canal. There's 607 standard cubic feet of water that's being pumped from the system. It's 3 times what it was before. One of the major issues that's different too is that there is no tidal exchange on either of the pump stations. We're able to pump down to a -1.5 and keep the canals at that level. Also, we're separating out 680 acres of the St. John drainage. We're seeing already, too, the importance of these 2 stations as the West Shore Levee continues to be built. The tidal gates that are going in the Prescott Canal are 2 10-by-10 gates that are sized for 10-year rain events. With the rain events we just saw recently and the ones in the past, we're seeing more and more events that are greater than 10. It just shows the importance of building these stations and the foresight to go ahead and build them. It's a commitment between the 2 stations of $32 million. And I think it's a project that's well worthwhile. I would like to just thank President Jewell for his hard work, numerous meetings with the Colonel, numerous meetings and getting funding. You know, the funding's applied to the first station, but it's still a package of getting work done. I want to thank GIS for their hard work. The Parish Legal Department, we had 6 different ownership groups that owned property there. One of them having 15 individual landowners, 3 pipeline crossings for EnLink, Enterprise, Phillips. In addition to that, we had to re-permit the hydraulic station to where the parish became the owner of the permit. And that station will be removed when these 2 pump stations are online. So in addition to that, we had the 408 to 404 DOTD permits, right-of-way agreements with railroads. And I just want to thank the legal department for their Herculean effort. They spent hours and hours and hours working on this. And some owners were out of state. And it's truly a team effort. I want to thank Miss Andre for her work. She helped with a lot of the legal work, you know, in addition to commenting on the technical aspects, but she spent a lot of time working with the legal department and working on all these different legal activities as far as the new parish system for all the DocuSign systems and everything we have to do. So I greatly appreciate that. But I can't overemphasize the hours President Jewell put in on this, in meeting with the Colonel and the phone calls. And I mean, I'd call him and say, I need your help, and it'd be immediate, just immediate. And I greatly appreciate that. I appreciate your support.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sam. File number 2025-0188 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Second piece of the puzzle. Master Drainage Plan showed it. Mr. Sam pretty much thanked everybody I was going to thank. But, Matt, it took a lot. Commitment. you came to this council with this master drainage plan study, previous council, and you sold the benefits of it. And tonight we're seeing the benefits of that planning. It's been 5 years since we first started talking about a lot of this. This is amazing. $18 million. Mr. Sam said $32 million for months. It's $10 million for Ormond. We're doing the things we said we were going to do. And I hope people appreciate it, because there's a lot of people in this room and a lot of people that sat on this table around this thing and had played a part in this. 10 years ago, we never had this foresight. We never talked about it. We never talked about it. Everybody drains, so we got to do drainage. Well, we're doing it. And again, it's a testament to the team, because I'm going to call it the team. My fellow council people, my former council people, everybody's worked on this project. It means a lot. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. We got a plan. The playbook is going to be there. We're going to continue to do these things. We're going to find money. Mr. Mobley and I figured out Matt's got a magic pen, so I think we're going to hit him all up. So, but I just want to say thank you. I really do. And from people that I represent, I want to say thank you also.
I'd like to make a comment too. I want to thank the GIS for their hard work on this. They spent a huge amount of effort. It's a 2.5-year process on the 408. I want to thank Civics for their effort for the 404 and the DNR permit, but in particular settling the issue with the Prescott pump station and not having title exchange. I want to thank ELOS too. We had to go back 15 years and prove that we did not do any damage to wetlands. I can't overemphasize the importance of what GIS and Civics and ELOS did to help move these permits forward. It's the first 408 permit the parish has done. We're looking at another 408 review with Cousins, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say the importance of what these firms did to help us. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. We would not be here. And I just want to say that.
All right. Parish President Jewell.
I'm just going to say, thank you to everybody involved. I mean, Mr. Sam hit it on the head, and Bob, you hit it on the head. So many people working on this jointly, whether it's on our team or consultants that we had helping us. Look, we were faced with a choice, a few years ago when the new West Shore Hurricane Protection Levy was going in. Either we were going to agree that we were going to share a common canal with other parishes and their pump stations, along with the respective tidal gates up and down this system, and hope that in a bad storm that people in other parishes would do what they're supposed to do by going out and closing their tidal gates and turning their pumps on, or we had the opportunity to control our own fate, take things into our own hands. We chose the latter. We chose to make sure that we have control of our destiny. And I think when you look at St. Charles Parish, and I'll put us up against any parish in the entire state, we do things the right way. And we've shown that time and time again. I will tell you that, again, just like the railroad project, I said earlier, this one was a close second when it came to permitting. It was a behemoth. You're looking at multiple landowners, pipelines, a multi-jurisdictional watershed. On top of that, a pump station that was improperly installed in months in a previous administration. So having to work through those issues and convince the LDENR that we are going to correct these mistakes, that we're going to do the right thing, that we're going to restore tidal flow to this acreage, and that we are going to be able to improve our drainage, not only for ourselves, but for those 650 acres in the other parishes. Remember, you have 174 CFS or 176 CFS of pumping capacity right there at Prescott with that temporary station. those box culverts can flow 400 CFS. So the positive drainage that will be maintained with this system cannot be underscored. One of the biggest issues that we have in months is that when we get this inundation, we lose positive drainage because flow just stops when it gets to CC Road and Airline, and that backs up everything all the way to River Road. And you all have seen it after big storms. Sometimes it takes days to reopen Evangeline Road. Days. It's a safety issue as well as a property damage issue. So those issues will go away. The modeling supports that. I'm excited that we're here at this point, and we are looking forward to continuing that on. And I will just reiterate, we are proving that these projects are coming. We are working on multiple of them at the same time. So if you don't see anything happening, just know that that doesn't mean that nothing is happening. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes before we get to this point. And then you're probably going to be annoyed with us while construction's going on. It's going to be inconvenient for a little while, but the result will be worth it, I promise.
One more comment too, if I may. These stations here are laying part of the groundwork for the Norco station. We are basically duplicating the concept with the permits. And I just want to say that we did not sacrifice doing that project to do this one. The other one is fully funded also. And Norco is totally dependent upon the permit, just like this has been totally dependent on the permit for years. Well, it's the same way with the Norco and the Engineers Canal Pump Station. It's totally permit dependent, but that station's not forgotten, and we're not choosing one over the other.
All right, Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have to thank everybody, particularly Mr. Sam, for his fortitude getting these projects, and they're big, getting those done. I can tell you an opinion that I had, which is number one problem in St. Charles Parish is drainage. Number one in my mind. So to prove myself right about this, I went to ChatGPT and asked the question, what are the biggest problems? Bang, 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 bang. Drainage everywhere. And I got involved in this thing we called politics so that I could help see a solution to some of these problems. And I feel like we're all of us are making a change for the better. And you're right, it is a team. And I hope that some projects, some areas that I know about, St. Rose is one, you have some across the river, those start seeing some starts soon so that people have the type of hope that we now have over in Monts, over in New Sarpy. There's a CN Railroad Tracks project that we funded to get engineering done. So it's got to be better, and it will be better. And we want to thank you for all of what you guys have done.
All right, thank you, Councilman Pillier. I also just want to say thanks again. I'm not going to reiterate what I said for the previous project, but I have some of the same sentiments for this one as well. It does take a team effort, as everyone said. I think it's a testament also to how well our council works with the administration, not only this term, but last term, to how far all these projects have gotten. And we're now seeing a lot of those priority projects from the master plan enter the construction phase. So thank you, everyone. All right, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0188. And that passes unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Councilman.
Thank you. File number 2025-0189, an ordinance to levy an assessment on the 2024 ad valorem tax bills of property owners that are delinquent in paying outstanding invoices for removal of weeds, grass, etc., in accordance with the St. Charles Parish Code, Chapter 16, Article 3, weeds, grass, etc., and to levy an assessment on the ad valorem tax bills of property owners that are delinquent in paying outstanding charges incurred for the removal of unsafe structures, trash, and debris in accordance with Chapter 16. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The summary really kind of says everything there. This ordinance recoups the cost of grass cutting, removal of structures from unpaid bills. Every year we bring this to you, and we would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2025-0189 is open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Please cast your votes for file number 2025-0189. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0190, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 2 to Ordinance 21-8-16, which approved a professional services agreement with Duplantis Design Group, DDG, to perform additional engineering services for the Zalman's boat launch, project number P210705, to include construction, administration, and inspection for the construction of the actual boat launch, increasing the contract amount by $381,480. Mr. Bingham.
Yes, the administration would ask that this be postponed indefinitely. The engineer came back with some additional items that they need added to the contract. We'd rather do it once.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. I am going to open up a public hearing. File number 2025-0190 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Parish President Jewell.
I just wanted to mention that this project is going out to bid over the next couple of weeks or so, and it's going to be bid opening sometime in late August. The postponement of this ordinance does not affect our ability to bid the project, but we will be coming back to you to make sure that everything's included. That way we don't get in a bind. Thank you.
All right. I have a motion by Councilman Fisher and a second by Councilwoman O'Daniels to postpone indefinitely file 2025-0190. Please cast your votes to postpone indefinitely file number 2025-0190. And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0191, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 2 to Ordinance 23-12-4, which approved a professional services agreement with Stewart Consulting Group, Inc. for Ormond Center drainage improvements, project number P190505, in the not-to-exceed amount of $153,724.20. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This project was bid. We came in over budget. We went back to the drawing board, and we have actually reworked the project to make it more cost effective by talking to some people at the Ormond Center. We found some additional solutions where we can cut costs. So the unfortunate part about that is the engineer has to redo some work, and we are paying them for that rework. And this is to cover that work. Plus, I believe also some RPR work, which was not in their contract.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2025-0191 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Councilman Pillier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bingham, do you have any idea, roughly, just in the mind's eye, how long it'll take to get to the point where we'll rebid this again, and then kind of a schedule as to when the bids might be received, etc.? The natives are getting a little restless about the
yes, sir.
parking.
We are actually we have a meeting with the Ormond Center owner, I believe, this week to go over some of the things that we are looking at to improve this project. We already have the engineer working on those plans and specifications. We hope to have them done by the end of, I would say, middle of next month, and then we can go rebid it.
Thank you.
All right. Councilman Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. So, again, this is another one that basically we improve it on the front end. It'll prove it on the back end. So Cypress Lakes Weir has to come through this project also because it's drained through the Ormond Center to the Borough Canal. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so part of it. So, let's face it, this wasn't very well designed back 30 years ago. I think that's where we're facing a lot of these problems with that. So, I know it's been a rough one. I know you fought on this one, so appreciate it. Stewart Consultant Group's done a good job. They've been pretty receptive to everything you've asked them to do and everything we've asked them to do. So, as PA say, they are getting restless. Again, this is one project that, again, improves drainage, not just at Ormond Center, but it improves drainage in Ormond and upstream of Ormond.
There's a major canal that comes through this, goes straight through the middle of this this center. So
that canal 30 years ago was wide open, and it did drain from the ring levee of Ormond all the way back to the canal. So appreciate you staying on top of it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Councilman Pillier, this is your second time to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bingham, are there some novel plans for making sure that when you do this, it was in 3 phases, because I had requested the information and looked at the drawings and such, to be able to assure that all that drainage that will be cut off while you're doing this work will not back up and flood anybody. And as
yes, sir. So to answer your question, and I'll take that question. There are 2 things we're doing. We are implementing bypass pumping, which is for regular flow of water. We'll take the water and push it past the area that is being constructed at the time. We will also put in temporary earthen dams that if we get a major event, we will open them up and the water will flow freely through the project. So there will be no issues with drainage during the project. This is a technique that when I was program manager for Jefferson Parish, we used on a regular basis in major canals.
Well, there are 2 60-inch culverts. They're dual wall. It's, smooth bore. I looked at the figures on how much that could handle, and it almost handled as much as the pump station puts out. So I hope we're going to have enough that in an event like we had the other day, it can handle that type of bypass. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Pillier. Parish President Jewell.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just said this is one of those projects that we're eager to do. Obviously, we're not we want to get it done for the sake of the business owners who are there. Obviously, this was accepted. This infrastructure was accepted by the parish many years ago. We did do some work in the past couple of years to get a true servitude on top of it to allow us to do work and make sure everything was in place legally for us to do this work here. But obviously, when the first bids came back, there was a low bid. They pulled that bid. The next bid was over $1 million more. We didn't think that it was an option to go ahead and pay more than $1 million over the bid that was already over the approved rate. A little bit of a different situation than, say, the CN Railroad culverts that we voted on tonight. But our goal is to make sure that we can get this thing done and we can do it right so that we don't have to come back in the future, or whoever has to come back in the future and touch it again. So I want to say thanks to Miles and his team, because this one was a tricky one as well, and we look forward to this being done.
All right, thank you. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0191. That passes unanimously. File number 2025-0192, an ordinance to reinstate vendors' compensation provisions. And we have Ms. Paula Janson, who's the Director of Tax Collections with St. Charles Parish Sales and Use Tax Office, here to explain.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Paula Janson. I'm the sales tax collector for the parish under the school board, but for the whole parish. During the third extraordinary special session, the legislators inadvertently omitted or deleted the provisions for vendors' compensation. Vendors' compensation allows for our taxpayers to take a 1% deduction from their sales taxes that they collect and remit to the parish as a way to compensate them for what they do. And it was inadvertently omitted, and during the regular session of 2025, they put the statute back in that allows us to provide for a vendor's compensation. And so this ordinance, if approved, it would give the taxpayers the compensation for collecting and remitting sales taxes.
Great, thank you,
Any
Ms.
questions?
Johnson. I'm going to open up public hearing. File number 2025-0192 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? I just had one question, just to be clear for residents who might view this. When you say vendor's compensation, the 1% is for the actual remitters of the sales tax to the school board, right?
Right.
This
Everyone-
isn't 1% that the school board's keeping.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
So anyone who collects and remits sales taxes that's registered with the parish of St. Charles Parish can take a 1% deduction from the taxes they owe, whether it be a sales or a use tax.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
If they pay timely.
Yeah, that's important. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2025-0192.
Thank you.
And that passes unanimously. File number 2025-0193, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of amendment number 3 to ordinance number 21-11-4, which approved professional services agreement with GIS Engineering LLC to complete all engineering services for Muntz Pump Station number 2, Parish Project number P210806, in the amount not to exceed $422,160. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an amendment to add resident inspection project representatives for this project plus construction administration. We also included in this the removal of the Prescott pump station, which is required by the Corps of Engineers after we complete the installation of the 2 Muntz pump stations. So we would appreciate your support on this. I have been asked in the past why we wait to do the RPR in a later thing. A lot of times it comes down to budgeting. We can do an engineering contract, and the RPR and sometimes the construction administration are large numbers. So we add them at the end so that we can budget the money better. So that would be why we do it right when we are getting towards construction.
All right, file number 2025-0193 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Please cast your votes for file number 2025-0193. And that passes unanimously. Appointments. File number 2025-0164, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Civil Service Board. Council will confirm nomination to the Civil Service Board to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of the term of Mr. Patrick O'Malley. It's a 3-year term to begin August 1st, 2025 and expire August 1st, 2028. The nominee is Mr. Patrick O'Malley. Please cast your vote to confirm the appointment of Mr. Patrick O'Malley to the St. Charles Parish Civil Service Board. And that passes unanimously. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meetings. Housing Authority will meet Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. The Hospital Service District number 1 will meet Wednesday, July 30th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in the council chambers. And our next parish council meeting will be Monday, August 4th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. Adjournment. A motion and a second are needed to adjourn. I have a motion by Councilwoman DeBrouillet and a second by Councilwoman Skiba. Please cast your votes to adjourn. And that passes unanimously. Have a great evening. We are officially adjourned.
Thank you, Sam.